day 2. Honestly, a day longer than I thought I would have made it. The fact that you're even seeing this shows that I've got the potential to maybe make this work. Because low-key, I was not gonna do anything today. I was just gonna postpone it, especially after school today. But I had the greatest chess session of my life today. I was literally the best gym session I've ever had this year. So I decided, hell, we'll do day 2 of the mental retreat. Another 5 days of it, and then I get to speak about whatever I want. And it's all unplanned, and I get to yap about whatever great topic. Theme of today. Yesterday's was past experiences and how we should let them, define us and influence us. Today, what's the best way to describe it? Avoidance is definitely on there. Dependency. Avoidance, dependency, and the cost of numbing, I think is the best approach we'll go for. I don't have a title usually. I have my notes here, and I'm just looking at them and I'm trying to think of the key things. And yeah, I feel like avoidance, dependency, and the cost of numbing are big focus on today. So obviously we'll stray from yesterday because it's a great place. I think that like yesterday, day 1 will be the root of all the other 6 days that I'll be yapping off to. So yeah, I briefly mentioned the relationships, or the relationship, the first one, yesterday. I didn't go fully into it, but basically what I'm going to be talking about. God, I don't think I've spoken about this in such a long time. Because it's not something that I'm actively processing. If I'm talking to someone, I'll just say, oh yeah, I was in 3 relationships, but for the context of this, the first 2 are the more important ones here. So yeah, I'd usually say, I did just 3 relationships. I wouldn't go into detail of them because there's no need for that. But we're going into detail. Most of you will know. Yeah, actually, no, most of you will know about both. I think everyone on the everyone will know all about it. But in case there's, missed details, we'll go into it. So just after I got back from Poland. The day of, actually, I got back. I don't know why, I went for it, right? Cool. Obviously, long story short, found out I was a catfish. It set me up, yeah. So that lasted 3 weeks. It was literally to fill that void, to not think about it, just to distract it, take away that dark void. It worked for the 3 weeks, but it just wasn't fulfilling enough. The travel, the commuting, it just didn't cut out. The age gap just didn't cut out. So I went, got my hoodie back. Didn't need the hoodie, but I got it back, and then when I look back on it, it's hilarious to me. Like, wow, I'm just actually thinking about it. I could literally just go, say all in a sentence what happened, but I'm going to drag it out for the sake of the content. So yeah, I got back, and next thing you know, I'm out longer, and this preposterous idea, to this day, I can't fully remember if it was mine or the second relationship's idea. Couldn't tell you, but it wasn't someone else's. It was either mine or hers. And I found that hilarious. But then I got home And I'm like, damn, the void's still there. I got rid of that relationship, but now the void's filling, right? The void's not being filled. It's opening bigger and bigger, just eating me a whole. And then evil me really just decided, hell, let's try again. So now so this is September year 10 to October year 10. I'm pursuing, trying, doesn't work out. The thing is, it keeps my mind occupied. The chase keeps my mind occupied. Loved it. And it just kept, and then I was like, no, I can't do this. But then the void just kept growing. And I didn't want to confront the problem at hand. Didn't want to face it. So I just ran away from it and I chased. And then next thing you know, I'm in a relationship. Okay, damn. Oh, actively as this is happening, I'm starting up the addiction. Very much slowly, but it's arising around the same time that the relationship, it's almost like it's in sync again. It seems that I have the main factor and then a side factor that's also being pushed by the main factor. The main factor was relationship, the side factor was the abuse, addiction. Cool. All right, minor. But it seems the more I ramp up the relationship, the more I ramp up the addiction. Again, coinciding with each other. It pushes further. Okay, cool. So yeah, by the time I've gotten into this relationship, I am basically boundary addiction, I feel like at this point. I feel like I'm maybe 2 to 3 times a week. This is November. Yeah, November is when I'm not in a relationship yet, but I'm talking, and then the addiction rises and rises and rises. And as soon as I get into the relationship, the addiction is now there. It's very prominent. By the time January rolls around, after December, January rolls around, and now we are full blown at this point. It's become nearly a daily thing. Literally just to distract. The relationship was a distraction. The addiction was the numbness to it. Both factors worked great. I couldn't complain. I just had 2 things coinciding with each other. Great. I'm happy. In the moment, I'm happy. I've got a relationship. Cool, great. I'm happy, blah, blah, blah. I'm still doing great in school at this point. But it's safe to admit both relationships and the addiction were simply an emotional distraction. No connection to it. And I always thought I was guilty for it. I was like, damn, this is rude. But the ego was like, no, go for it. At the end of the day, it's you. Do what you want. Doesn't matter what the other party thinks. Okay, so I went along with it. 3 months go by, 4 months go by, 5 months go by. And as the 5 months go, as the months go up and on, I'm ramping up the addiction. It goes from 3 to 4 times a week post school to preschool now, before school, and then also after school, on weekends and weekdays, going for it. And it just ramps up and it just becomes a daily habit. And at this point, I almost lose the control that I have. And it's like some innate part of me, like this other me, takes a hold, which I give the label of rep psych. Quite convenient, actually, because it's my name flipped around. Everything bad I blamed on it. This almost alter ego, right? Still me, physically, mentally not, right? This was a later discovery, but at the time, this was what I was, or who I was, right? So it wasn't me, rather this alter ego that just did all these things. This, not now, I'm not saying this is how it was. Obviously, I know back then it was still me, but it's still so bizarre to me that those actions were influenced by the addiction, which Yeah, such a confusing concept. It was, and then obviously, as any addiction becomes, it becomes a compulsive thing. It's like your bread and butter. You need it, right? You need it to function, and it becomes quite literally the thing I rely on at this point now. Like, I need it, or else I won't, do this or that. And then it gets to like the 5-month stage, and at this point, the relationship becomes not enough for a distraction. It wasn't enough for me. It didn't give me the distraction I needed. So I ramped up even more addiction. Okay, cool. And I just kept going, and I tried to, and to put up with a relationship, I had to smoke even more. Not for the sake of I needed it then, but so both factors like collided, and then I had this one factor that just distracted the whole idea of the void and filled the void temporarily, of course. And then I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, no, the relationship was making it worse. It's opening the void more. Okay? So we just get rid of it. No, nothing. No answer, no answers to it. Just get rid of it. Okay, cool. What I told people at the time was different, obviously. No one knew, so I couldn't really tell them the truth, so I had to make up lies. Cool, relationship ends. Summer rolls around. I'm free now. And it just ramps up. Now it is literally daily, day and night. And it literally became dependency. Yeah, it consumed me as a whole person. The Casper that is now wasn't that Casper. It's so bizarre to me, which the whole label of Repsac, right, came from. And then people started using it, so it caught on, and then it almost became like a whole nother personality, right? A whole nother person that I blamed anything bad that happened for my life, in my life for a very, very long time, right? So I just avoided the problem because it wasn't me that was causing the problem, right? But, now that I didn't have a distraction relationship, the only thing that I had to rely on was the other factor of addiction. So I fell into it. And then the drinking came along. So now, to a brand new factor and the same old factor colliding, great. Now I'm just numb to the point of I'm not even thinking. I'm on autopilot. It was awful. That whole the year 10 summer, awful. Was it? Yes, it was. But then one day I realized it was the first time. Was it the first time? Yeah, it was the first time I got a haircut from current barber. And I look at myself in the mirror and I'm as pale as a ghost. Why, you may ask? Because I had a party the night before, right? I fell asleep on a chair. I threw up in a bathtub. It was awful. I was out in the town centre at like 3 a.m. in a shirt and shorts. At this point I realised something was wrong. But I didn't know what it fully was. Second day, I go back, do the same thing. I make it somehow worse. Sleep on the balcony of the house. And at this point I realised something is definitely wrong. There is something so wrong. So, the narcissist, the ego, me, let's say Casper, not Repsac, simply kind of shifted the narrative, and I just was like, nah, I'm not gonna let this slide. So I locked in. So came year 11. But in the meantime, not only the only thing that influenced it, right? I'd locked in mostly. I'd cut down the smoking from maybe every day to every other day, every third day, but it was still there. It was still a prominent figure of my life. And then, as this was going on, this is when spice became a thing. At the time being, it wasn't spice, it was known as THC, right? I remember ordering my second bowl. It was a green bowl. The green bowl came for free because my order was delayed. So I got the normal bowl and a green bowl. And I put it in my vape at the time, which was a big vape, right? Called it the execution at the time because it physically literally killed people from the spice. Not actually killed people, but meant like it literally made them go pale. Okay, and then I remember it's the first time I'd greened out. Like I'd been smoking for a whole year at this point. The first time I'd greened out. The only thing I remember is I remember it grey. I remember my memories in grey. Not even my memory isn't grey. Whether that's because of smoking or that's how I am. There was no colour to it. There was no connection or feeling. It was just grey. It was the most monotone thing ever. Like usually when I have a memory, I can kind of convey the colour through a feeling. But this time there was no feeling. It was numb. It was just grey. That's all it was. Okay. The next day I get back home. So the next day, like I lost one of the juices, so I went back the day after the greening. Ow. Came back home, went downstairs. My mum messages me, come downstairs for a sec. And somehow subconsciously I'm just thinking, it's over. It's over. Message everyone who I need to. I'm saying it's over. Go downstairs, there it is, the drug test. Now this is where the story gets funny. Because not everyone knows the end of this story. Those who know the end of the story know. But the thing is, some people think I don't know the whole story or how the other side ended. And it's just funny to me because the person who staked me out acted like he didn't do it. And I think that's hilarious to me because there was not even an apology. And this is when I realized self-interest is the best, you know. This is what just made the ego worse. So, snaked out, cool, that's fine. Could be worse. You know, just to cover his own house. Not mine, no. Why? You're gonna put yourself first, of course. And at this point I realized, I see the dynamic. Doesn't matter how long. At this point I realized there is no loyalty. And I thought I was so blinded thinking things had changed that even now the loyalty doesn't stand. To this, literally a week ago, no, not even a week ago. Actually, if it is, yeah, no, it's been a week, yeah, where I found out another thing, right? You know, people could have told me, but I found out myself. Because again, loyalty only stands with me. And at the end of the day, if it was me or someone else dying, I'm going to choose myself to live. I will never have empathy or sympathy for anyone else. Call me selfish. Call me selfish and selfless are the same side, are the same side of the same coin. I will take to the grave. Being selfless, being selfish is the same exact thing. So anyway, side rant over. So now I'm confined in my room for 3 to 4 days. No phone, no computer. The only thing I have is a TV. No Nick, because the only coil I have is filled with spice. Cool. And those 3 to 4 days had impacted me the most. Because this is when the underlying psychosis had become a full-blown psychosis. And yeah, and now that I'm actually like saying it out loud fully, it's just like, wow. At the end of the day, I call this self-psychosis. Absolutely. I'm not putting the blame on anyone else, but it's just like, damn. Again, things happen. Cool, whatever. So then I realized things need to change. So there it was. I had an opportunity. I could start fresh. And I did. So I went cold turkey for the 3 days, and I literally didn't do anything. I didn't smoke until literally a month after that, actually. So from September year 11, so just after the summer, literally, I think I got caught literally like the last week of summer, and then literally that last week I'm just confined in, no, it was the old house. So in the old house, confined in that little room with nothing but a TV. It took a number on me. It made the psychosis worse than it already was, right? And at that point, all I had was my thoughts. So those 4 days were torture, because I had the relationships and what happened there. I had the realization people are dickheads and people are selfish. And it made me realize, damn, you can't really trust anyone. So then from September till April, I just became so enveloped in myself that I didn't even give anything else a focus. It was just me, and me. No one else mattered. And that's what happened. And it took my self-interest. Which is what I'm trying to kind of recreate with a mental retreat. Those 4 days. But over time, and also not in like a panic or a chaos almost, like an impulse, but rather like a natural forthcoming that I'm choosing to do it myself. Because last time I simply had no choice. It was literally fight or flight. Like, it was literally live, push, or literally surrender and die. I chose to live, yeah. Not like actually die, but mentally. Mentally is probably the best way. So yeah, and then I just became so locked in. Nothing for 6 months. And then came just April of 24. Yeah, April 24, that's year 11. Got a car. And that started up again. But I could almost control it. Because I could choose to say no. Sometimes I wouldn't. Sometimes I would. Sometimes I would simply just say no. Sometimes I would go, whatever, cool. And that was it for that, I would say. So yeah, that's what I would say that was the aftermath of that's what really shook it up. Year 10, year 11 really did do a number. The earlier half of year 11, obviously, because I just, I was so locked in with myself. No one would see me. The only time someone would see me was in school, or on the way to the gym, or the back from the gym, or at the gym. You wouldn't see me outside. Which is great. The discipline I had, that habit was great. I wish I could do that again. A lot of, like, I'm looking at the notes. A lot of it I didn't go off the notes. This was on the top of my head, which is quite good. It's because it's like there in my head. You know what I mean? It's just there. The other one has a lot more of an emotional impact. This one, nah. This one I was very conscious of, and I made the decision. So yeah, the psychosis I feel like was the biggest takeaway. I didn't know it was psychosis at the time, but looking back on it, it was, and I think to this day I'm still in a mild psychosis where sometimes it will be okay. To be honest, since the mental retreat, it's been okay. So since Sunday, I feel like I've been happier, but also before that I was a lot happier. So yeah. That stage of my life had really taught me a lot, taught me self-interest at the end of the day, taught me to be selfish. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say. Did I say anything else here? Yeah, I kind of strayed away from the key point of relationships and addictions, which was the key point. this was the main focus of what today was going to be. So I'd say the insights that I gained, obviously I was actively thinking about it because that's what I did. I thought about what I'm going to do tomorrow. This was yesterday. And then I thought about it the whole day, what I'm going to do, put it down in notes, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like the insight that I gained today out of all of it, obviously looking back on it, because being in it, it's hard to kind of gain an insight. And I'll think about it, throughout the past few years. I've thought about it, but not thought of it as a lesson or something that I can gain insight from. So they were like survival strategies that kind of just overstayed their purpose, which I didn't need anymore. And I realized I don't need any more either. Very much proven by this past week that I don't need these, and I can function fine without the addictions or the substance abuse. Or the relationships, for that matter. That's going to be a part 2 tomorrow. There is... Yeah, I mean, I've opened the Pandora's box. We're getting all of Casper out. You're going to get the realest me you could ever get. And I'd say there is only about a few select people that I've seen this me. God, how many of there are you? Probably less than those who knew about Poland, really. I think maybe there's 4 or 5 of you, max. The true me, yeah, probably about 4 of you. But even then, I wouldn't say there's anyone that specifically knows the real me, like the true real me. I don't know. But yeah, I look back on it. I would blame myself or I'd blame others, but at the end of the day, it was my fault. But I give myself I give myself compassion for it, because I could have done so much worse. I could have ended up on the wrong side of things. How I could have ended up dead or overdosed or gone further than what I did. But no, I stayed where I was, and I'm glad I did, and I'm glad the gateway that opened didn't take me down the wrong side, and it took me down the psychedelic path, which I feel was probably the best. Yeah, no, it really was the best. Probably where I'm going to start tomorrow off, actually, because it's actually probably the best place I'll start off tomorrow. So yeah, I feel like now I've realized, obviously, healing needs presence. It can't be sedated. I can't sedate the presence or the healing. I have to simply experience the emotions as I'm going through them. Yeah, the avoidance definitely delayed the healing. I think that's the self-explanatory. But it didn't eliminate the need for it. 100%. And the more I've realised as I'm thinking about it since Sunday, pilot day of the retreat, what the substances and relationships, or just addictions. I think that's the umbrella term we'll go for it. Relationships and the substances, we'll call it the addictions. I realised what it kept buried under, like what it dug, the void, what it really kept down. After year 11, I kind of I thought about it, but I didn't give it the compassion, the empathy, the sympathy that it needed. I kind of just passively thought about it, not actively gave it what's the word? The action it needed, I would suppose. Yeah. God. Yeah, I think that's about it, really. I was gonna say kept it really sweet and short, but I didn't, and I didn't even feel like speaking for so long. So yeah, that's day 2 of the retreat. Again, really insightful as always. else to say, really. Yeah, I'm not going to give any spoilers for tomorrow, more than I already did. Obviously, after this first week, we're going to get a lot more philosophical, for sure. Just now I need to get everything out the way. But now that I'm thinking, there's only so much that I can talk about on a mental retreat. The most impactful things. So I feel like I'll eventually stray away from myself and go into more of a universal experience, you know, and then eventually just stray that into philosophy, do a nice smooth transition into it. Yeah. That's it.